Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today to hear about civil engineering and environmental engineering at Deakin University. My name is Dr. Ellen Moon.
Hi, welcome. My name is Ashim Devnath, and in this session, we will talk about civil and environmental engineering together. Note that there is a question and answer session after this session. So please take notes of any questions that you have in mind from this session, and we'll be very happy to answer those in the Q&A session. Civil and environmental engineering have been around us for many, many years. In fact, starting from the ancient civilization, think about all of these fascinating structures, Eiffel Tower, the pyramids. Engineers like you prepared, built those, designed those. Slowly, we have started seeing various types of bridges, structures, tunnels. Now, in the modern civilization, look around you. You see a lot of fascinating buildings, high-rise structures, multi-story roads. Civil engineers and environmental engineers together have built those. What I tell people that from you wake up until you go to bed, most of the things that you see, that you work on, are perhaps built by a civil and environmental engineer.
As you can see from this journey through time in civil and environmental engineering, they will absolutely always be two professions that are essential for our future. All you have to think on is the major infrastructure projects that are underway at the moment in Geelong, in Melbourne, and around the rest of the country as well, to see that civil engineers who design and build these major infrastructure projects and environmental engineers who make sure that we reduce the environmental impact of these projects are going to be absolutely essential. Although they're two disciplines that are very interconnected, it's important to note that civil and environmental engineering are two separate courses here at Deakin. So throughout this webinar, we'll be talking about some separate aspects of our course, but we'll also come back together to talk about some of the things that our courses have in common as well.
First, what do civil engineers do? In a nutshell, we deal with built infrastructure systems. We design them, we construct them, and we make sure that they work in safe and efficient manner. So overall, our target is to ensure that our built infrastructure systems are sustainable. And we want to contribute to the livability of our modern cities. And eventually, of course, advanced civilization. So what are the specific areas that civil engineers work in? It may feel like that civil engineers only work with structures and bridges, but there is way more than this. Civil engineers deal with systems, urban transportation, water systems in a city. So it's not about only bridges and structures. There is way more than this. There's diverse areas that civil engineers work in. We typically think that civil engineering is a dirty job, working out in site. But note that there are many jobs which are related to desk-based. For example, designing buildings and structures, maintaining transport systems, water systems. All of these jobs require a lot of empirical and analytical skills, which we not only do on site, but also use our computational skills at various consulting and government offices.
So what about environmental engineers? What do we do? Well, to put it succinctly, we protect the environment. We work across a variety of industry on many different projects. Our job is to assess the impact of past, present, and future projects on the health of air, soil, and water, and the ecosystems that depend on those factors. It's then our job, once we've assessed those impacts, to design, develop new strategies to minimize the adverse impacts on those ecosystems. And just like civil engineering, environmental engineers work in many different aspects of the career, from air and noise pollution to jobs involving water management, remediation, waste management, energy generation, and of course, public health.
So where civil engineers actually work, the list is very long. Here we have tried to summarize the list with some common places where civil engineers work. Construction companies, you will see a lot of civil engineers there, designing stuff and building stuff. Our councils, road and transport authorities, government bodies, water authorities, there are a lot of civil engineers work there. Consulting firms need a lot of civil engineers across various areas, water, transport, geotech, structures. And don't forget about the mining companies in Australia. They require a lot of civil engineers too.
Environmental engineers, because we work across a variety of disciplines on very varied projects, also work at these same organisations. But that's not to forget the other type of projects that we will be working on across other engineering disciplines. So for example, renewable energy projects, major automotive projects. Basically, if you can think of an engineering project, environmental engineers are going to be involved somewhere.
Let's look at the sub-disciplines of civil and environmental engineering. We have got 4 sub-disciplines in both engineering degrees. In civil, geotechnical engineering deals with foundations and soil quality. So stuff that we don't see above ground, there are a lot of engineering happens related to foundations, and civil engineers are involved in it. In structural engineering, we deal with buildings and structures that are above ground. So geotechnical engineering helps us to hold the structure that we see above ground. And these buildings and bridges, not only about concretes, it can be related to steel structures, timber structures, a variety of materials that we work with. In transportation engineering, we make sure that an urban transport network work efficiently, safely. We make sure that our traffic control systems are working efficiently. In water engineering, we learn about flood prediction. We make sure that our water systems are operating in an efficient and a safe manner. We deal with structures as well, let's say dams, to make sure that we've got sufficient water reserved. What is common across all of these sub-disciplines is that these are not isolated. In a particular civil engineering job, engineers from any of these sub-disciplines will work in collaboration. So in our degree, we teach all 4 sub-disciplines so that student can pick a particular area that they want to specialize in their final year.
Just like civil engineering, at Deakin University, our environmental engineering program also has 4 major sub-disciplines. These include water engineering, which, as you've heard from Ashim, is also part of the civil engineering program. And our students undertake the same units as the civil engineers so that they get a broad understanding across this area of expertise. Waste engineering is a really important subdiscipline of environmental engineering. We've got a waste crisis at the moment in Australia, and moving forwards, the way that we manage our waste and our recycling is going to be absolutely critical to our success as a country. Environmental management, of course, is a really important subdiscipline of environmental engineering. And this includes things like catchment management, making sure that the waterways are clean and safe and are able to support ecosystems. Energy and climate change is another hot topic in environmental engineering at the moment. And as we try to develop strategies to minimize the impacts of climate change, we are going to have to design novel ways of generating energy. And this is a really important part of environmental engineering. Now, as Ashim said, with the civil engineering subdisciplines, the environmental engineering subdisciplines also come together on projects. Very rarely will you encounter a project that doesn't in some way involve understanding water engineering, perhaps including the environmental management of that water and soil system, dealing with waste from a major project, And of course, understanding the environmental impacts of how you're going to power that project and what it means in the short term and the long term for climate change.
As noted earlier, civil and environmental engineers are always in demand. Look around yourself. In Australia, from 2019-20 year, for the next 10 years, there is $100 billion transport infrastructure investment happening. Not only across Australia, think locally in Victoria, our Victoria's Big Build, this fascinating program, which has committed $70 billion over 100 major infrastructure projects. And these are expected to create 15,000 jobs across Australia. So overall, in the next 10 years and way beyond that, there will be a significant demand for civil and environmental engineers in Victoria, across Australia, and throughout the world.
So why should you study civil or environmental engineering here with us at Deakin University? Well, one reason is that Deakin is a leader in online education. And this point was made really important in March this year, when due to the COVID-19 situation, we had to switch all of our learning online. Deakin moved very quickly and very efficiently to get this done. And that's in part thanks to our long legacy of distance learning. In fact, we led the way in 1976 when we launched an off-campus mode study for many of our courses, and in 1991 when we were one of the first universities to implement computer-based tutorials for distance education. Ever since then, we've been pushing the boundaries with our online education, and it really is a seamless transition to be able to study with us, whether on campus as situations improve in the future or in cloud mode.
Learning at Deakin is highly flexible. We ensure that our students have got various range of options in their learning. For example, here you can learn in campus or in cloud, or if you want to mix and match. You can also learn full-time, part-time, or change between these two modes as you need.
At Deakin, we have a fantastic range of cutting-edge labs and facilities that all students are able to use. We've got expansive lab space that's staffed by experienced technicians, so you're able to get in there and get your hands dirty. You'll be using the same equipment, the same software, and the same industry standards that you'll be using in your professions as engineers, so you're able to practice them from the very first year all the way until you graduate. Cloud students also get to benefit from these fantastic on-campus facilities because you'll join us for 1 week each trimester and be able to use the labs, get to know the staff, and also get to know your fellow students a bit better too.
Another thing that makes Deakin different from other universities is our PODBL, which is project-oriented design-based learning. Instead of focusing on textbooks, we give students a real-world industry problem. You will have projects related to almost all sub-disciplines of civil and environmental engineering. You will be put into small groups so that the learning is better and more personalized. You will have access to our labs and other facilities to solve real-world problems from a range of industries that Deakin is working with.
Both our civil and environmental engineering degree programs are accredited by Engineers Australia. This means that your qualification is recognised not only across Australia, but all around the world. So you're able to take your learning from Deakin and apply it anywhere that you might want to work.
Let's look at the course structures of civil and environmental engineering. Typically, in first year, we offer students the foundational skills that they need to learn about both of these courses. They will learn a lot about design, physics, mathematics. In the course structures here, there are some units that you see colored in gray. So these are common across civil and environmental engineering. You also see that there are some units named with PODBL. So these are our specialized PODBL units in both degrees. Every year, every trimester, there will be at least one PODBL units for students to learn.
As we move into second and third years, students are given more opportunity to explore the different subdisciplines in each of the degree programs. You'll see that there are still some units that are common to both degree programs here in the grey, but there are also an increasing number of units that are specifically relevant to either civil or environmental engineering. You'll also note that we have a number of project-oriented design-based learning units. In fact, half of your study in each trimester across second and third year will be this project-style learning, where you'll work individually, but also in teams to solve these real-life problems. Moving into third year, you can see again, we've got some really common units across civil and environmental engineering, particularly in that water space. But that again, in that second trimester, we take the opportunity to really delve into those different specializations and explore those areas in more depth.
Moving to your final year, here you have got the option of choosing one of the subdisciplines of civil or environmental engineering to specialize in. From your learning from year 1, 2, and 3, as you go through the different subdisciplines of these 2 degrees, you might like one area that you want to see yourself working in the future. So you can choose the engineering project A and B, the elective unit, as well as an industry work placement in that subdiscipline, so that you learn more about that particular subdiscipline you are interested in. Of course, we have got a common unit as well as specialized units in the subdisciplines in your 4th year.
So as Ashim mentioned, in your 4th year, you've got the opportunity to choose an elective unit from a range of different specialization options. You might choose to delve into greater depth in an area, or you might choose to complement your knowledge and choose an area that you haven't studied extensively yet. Either way, there are a variety of units on offer that can teach you about different specializations. And it's worth noting that one of the options that you can take is an engineering design international study tour. So if you're looking to travel overseas, and by then if the COVID-19 restrictions have been removed, then you've got a great opportunity of learning about engineering in a different culture. Another important part of your 4th year study is professional engineering practice. This is 30 or 60 days of real engineering experience, working with a real-life engineering firm to build your industry experience, create a professional network, and to really get a much better understanding of your future career options. Here, there are also overseas opportunities available, subject to COVID-19 restrictions, but whether you study in Australia or overseas, the feedback from our students is overwhelmingly positive that this is one of the most valuable parts of their degree program and really sets them up really well to be able to move into a career in engineering.
In your final year, you have also got the option of doing a final year research project over 2 trimesters. Here, you can choose to solve a real world problem related to your interests, and you have got access to world-leading researchers at Deakin working in various areas. You can work in a purely fundamental project. You can also work a project related to the industry. Here, we give you the opportunity to lead a project from start to finish with expert supervision. At the end of your project, you have got the opportunity to showcase your work among peers within the university as well as outside the university to the industry. Some of these opportunities may create avenues for you to build your network and further go beyond the university to the industry.
So you've heard the perspective from myself and Ashim, but I suspect that the people that you really want to hear from is our graduates. So I'll hand over to them to hear what they have to say about studying here at Deakin.
Undertaking project-based learning subjects throughout my studies really taught me that I enjoyed the challenge of applying the technical engineering knowledge that I was learning at university to developing practical and implementable solutions.
I don't know about you, but I'm a real hands-on type of learner. This is something Deakin do very well. For example, each trimester you study at least one subject which is hands-on, whether it be undertaking concrete lab tests or going on a construction site visit.
I really enjoy doing the final project because it kind of helps me to explore more options, especially like research side that I get to explore like something that I don't know, I'm not sure, and then doing all the literature review, writing, especially the experiment. So I think it's quite fun.
I decided to seek out a job in the construction industry and was able to secure a graduate engineering role with CBB contractors before having graduated. This really took off the edge and the pressure of my final assessments and exams, just knowing that I had that guaranteed employment. These days, I'm working on the Metro Tunnel project as a part of the consortium, the Rail Infrastructure Alliance. My position involves working with the structures team responsible for delivering the cut and cover tunnel, which will serve as the tunnel's western entrance.
It really helped me to secure full-time work. I was actually studying a traineeship, and so I was studying part-time and working full-time. And when I graduated, I was given a promotion within the company, and I've since gone on to work for another company in a higher-paying role. So, yeah, it was great.
I went on a 6-month exchange in Scotland in my 3rd year. This is something I really enjoyed, and whilst I was over there, I also got the opportunity to work on an old railway line, which is something you wouldn't really get to do in Australia.
I did my internship during my third year. So it's with City of Greater Geelong. And mainly I was doing like road maintenance. So I'm dealing with like asphalt and also like spray seal, so kind of thing. They keep me as a casual student engineers. So I working with them like 2 days a week for a year before I graduate.
It really easy to study via the cloud while I was at Deakin because it allowed me to work the lectures and the content in with my full-time work, and it meant I could be doing things at night or on the weekends when I had time available. So I found it really beneficial to study via the cloud.
Deakin have an up-to-date, state-of-the-art engineering building with some really cool technologies that you get to utilise throughout your degree. This is something that many other universities don't have or are lacking.
During my orientation, they actually offer a very genuine like welcome to like all the international students, and they also like provide like our international foods. So it's kind of like you feel like this is my second home.
So you might be wondering about the entry requirements for civil engineering or environmental engineering at Deakin. So this table shows you our indicative ATARs, but they are an indication only. So please do apply regardless of your ATAR. The Bachelor of Civil Engineering Honours is available for study at the Warm Ponds campus in Geelong, at the Burwood campus in Melbourne for the first year of the programme, and also in the Cloud. Our environmental engineering program is available for study at the Warm Ponds campus, but most of our units are also available in the Cloud, so there is the opportunity to mix and match your enrolment with environmental engineering. In terms of prerequisites, for both of our degrees, you need to have studied VCE English and VCE Maths Methods, or the equivalent from a different jurisdiction. For environmental engineering, VCE chemistry is also very useful, but it's not compulsory. However, if you don't have those prerequisites, don't panic. There are many other pathways into studying our degree, so please get in touch with us. Let us know which degree program you'd like to study, and we'll be able to provide you with information about suitable pathways so that you can come and join us at Deakin. We also have a number of scholarships on offer, and I encourage all of you to explore the scholarships part of the Deakin website to see if you are eligible. This is particularly important if you are a woman in engineering, Or if you're interested in working with a number of our industry partners, for example, the water utilities in the Geelong and the Warrnambool region, who also offer scholarships for students wanting to study engineering. So thank you for listening to the kind of formal part of our presentation, but I guess now we've got a little bit of an opportunity to talk to you face to face and maybe answer some of the really common questions that we typically get at open days. So the first one I often get is, why Deakin? What makes Deakin special? Well, I honestly believe there are a number of reasons that set us apart from other engineering departments. The first is our focus on project-oriented design-based learning. It really is something special to be able to work on real-life industry projects, to problem solve, to propose solutions, to get to work with your teammates and really understand what engineering is about. The second big difference is our experience in the online space. We've been offering online education for many, many years now, and we are very good at it. And in the current situation, that's a real advantage, but even under normal situations, it offers you that flexibility to study in a way that suits you and fits in with the rest of your life.
There are two other things that I noticed when I came to Deakin. First is our lab facilities, and second is our connections with the industry. Talking about lab facilities, we have got a range of state-of-the-art facilities covering various subdisciplines of our engineering courses. Talking about industry engagements, the major focus in our engineering courses is that we want our students to be ready to work in the industry from the day they graduate. As part of this, we have partnered with various industries in Geelong and throughout Victoria to help our students get the required level of exposure that they should need when they start working in the industry.
Another question that I commonly get asked is, should I choose environmental science or environmental engineering? What I usually say to people is that both disciplines are really excellent and really worth studying. It depends what interests you. So I think if your interests lie in understanding the way the world works, in wanting to know how the natural systems interconnect with each other, then perhaps environmental science is a better choice for you. But in my mind, engineering is all about problem solving and tackling the major issues of our time. So if that's what really motivates you, if you want to be part of the solution to climate change, to the waste problem, to water security, then generating those solutions is what you'll learn to do in environmental engineering. So hopefully now we've persuaded you that studying civil engineering and environmental engineering at Deakin would be a good choice. But how do you choose between the two subjects? In making that decision, I think it helps to go back and explore the subdisciplines that sit within both of our degree programs. So already you might see a subject in there that you think, yeah, that's something that I'm really interested in, and that helps you to make that decision. But if you're still having trouble deciding between the two, perhaps think about it on a slightly broader scale. Civil engineers are looking to design and construct the communities of the future, whereas environmental engineers are looking to make sure those communities and the air, the land, the soil, the water that those communities are built upon remains healthy now and into the future.
Let me talk about the infrastructure investment happening in Victoria and Australia again. And as you recall, more than 15,000 jobs in Victoria, and there will be way more jobs across Australia. Majority of these jobs are requiring civil and environmental engineering skills. So if you ask me, when is the best time to be a civil or an environmental engineer? Perhaps this is now.
Please hang around, because in a few minutes we'll be having a live Q&A, and Ashim and myself will be joined by Vaughan Mitchell, who is a current student in the Bachelor of Environmental Engineering, and also by Erin Cotter, who is a recent graduate of the Bachelor of Civil Engineering.
Thank you for your time. It was good having you here, and I look forward to answering your questions in the Q&A session.